Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Um, I hope you're all good. Can we all see my screen and can we hear me clearly? Please, I want to know if you can hear me clearly, if you can see my screen.
Check.
Okay, great. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining this class. It's been a pleasure. It was a pleasure last week, and I'm so grateful that we're having another time again this week. Um, so we'll be concluding our class from last week, and like we did last week, we're also going to be streaming this live on YouTube. So um, for those that would want to see the video later or the recording later, you would always have that opportunity. So nice to have us here. We want to conclude the class and we want to go directly into what we missed last week. Although I'm just going to take some time to do a very brief recap of what we did last week. And of course, I'll allow for questions. You know, if there are questions, maybe somebody has tried to do something that we did last week and it didn't work, or you watched the video and there was something that you didn't understand. We would quickly address those questions and then we'll dive straight into today's class. So we explained who we are, Zen Consults. We provide Excel training and consultancy services to various kinds of people. And like this one we're having right now, it's a free online training for basics of Excel, fundamentals of Excel. And this is the conclusive class. So we have to consult out myself. I'm Timinda Adebi, I'm the facilitator of today. And my partner is Ibukun Oyediran. I'm sure I must have sent out some invites and some information to you on WhatsApp. We advise that you save our numbers so that if there's any information that I want to pass across, we can always pass across to you. And you can always consult us at any time. Since you have our numbers, we've chatted you up, you can save us and you can chat with us about any problems you might be having Excel-wise. Okay, so last week we talked about the assumptions. It's a basic Excel course. You just need to understand the basics of how to run a computer. We look at the versions of Excel and how to know which version of Excel you have running on your system. We looked at how to maximize Excel and various things to do. We talked about workbooks, various things about workbooks, talked about the screen, talked about the file tab, talked about working with worksheets, various things to do with worksheets. We looked at ranges, how to enter into a cell and how to select cells, how to select ranges. We looked at various types of data that can be in a range, in a cell. We look at how to enter data. We look at how to copy and paste. We also looked at Excel's autofill, which we mentioned that was Excel's magic. And all this was done last week. And the video is on YouTube. And today we're going to continue the class from where we stopped. And we're going to look at understanding formulas and functions in depth. Again, we're taking this class as though you don't have any prior knowledge. The assumption is that you don't have any prior knowledge, you don't know anything about Excel, and we're trying to build on it. Before I go directly into this class, I want to ask, does anybody have any issues with those former topics that I've just looked at? Was there something you tried on your own that you couldn't get or something? If there's none, we'll just move on to today's topic. All right, so understanding formulas and functions. By the way, that video on YouTube, we had about 122 views as of this morning when we checked. So thank you all for watching the videos. We appreciate you for watching the videos. But we also noticed that we have about 40 subscribers. So 122 views and 40 subscribers. So please, it will go a long way to help us to subscribe. We will keep putting in content on that YouTube page, explaining different things. A lot of free content coming your ways very soon. And including this video that we're currently recording. So please, when we let's make it a habit. Let's try to subscribe to show our support for the cause. Okay, understanding formulas and functions. So we're going to look at it from the basics, Excel formula basics. So what's the basic thing that everybody needs to know about working in Excel? So if you are a newbie in Excel, you don't know anything about Excel at all, the first thing you need to know is that all formulas start with an equal sign. So what does that mean? If I bring in a blank workbook, right? And here, let me make this 150%. So if I just type 2 plus 3, that doesn't do anything. Nothing calculates, nothing is added. There's no value in this cell. It's just 2 plus 3. But if I type equals 2 plus 3, now that gives me a value. So once I type that equal to sign into a cell, Excel knows that now I'm about to write a formula. Some of the things that you will notice if I show my home tab, once I press equal to, all these values here get grayed out, because we are no more in normal cell mode. I'm not writing the formula. So if I type something, maybe 3 plus 24 minus this, and I press enter, it goes back to the normal way it was, and then you see the value in the cell. So all formulas start with an equal to sign. That's the first point. Second point is that numbers, texts, and cell ranges can be used in formulas. We will look at this in greater detail, how you can use numbers. Like we just use number now. We look at how you can use text and cell ranges in formulas. We look at that very soon. Okay, so the first thing that most people learn about formulas is arithmetic: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and exponent. So in the last class, I assumed that we know how to add. We know how to go around our keyboard. So we're just going to take these numbers 4 and 6. 4 and 6, we're going to just add, subtract, divide, and raise 4 to the power of 6, and see how we can do that on Excel, just so we can have an understanding of how to work with formulas and functions in Excel. Like I said in the last class, it's really important that if these concepts are very new to you, you have not seen this concept before, they are very new to you, it's important that you bring out your Excel on your system and you are following along. As you're following along, it will solidify the concepts to you. We sent this file as well. For those of us that got the mail, we sent this file as an attachment. So you can use that. You can open the attachment and you have this same file that I have. And so you can just follow along. So I want to add the two numbers 4 and 6. Again, I'm writing a formula. So if I just type 4 plus 6, that doesn't do anything. Nothing happened. I'm just putting text into a cell. I have to type equals 4 plus 6, and then I see my answer as 10. Okay, if I want to write 4 minus 6, let me look at it. I said addition is plus or shift and equal to. So if you have a number pad, you most likely see plus on your number pad on your keyboard. So once you press plus, you are good to go. But for those of us that don't have a number pad on our keyboard, shift plus equal to, shift plus equal to, hold shift down and press equal to, you get plus. Subtraction is just the normal minus sign. Multiplication is the asterisk. If you can see asterisk on your number pad, that's multiplication. Or you can press shift and 8. Shift and 8. Division is the normal division sign just before the shift. And exponent is shift 6. That's caret symbol. So let's look at the examples and see how we can follow along. So I'm adding 4 plus 6 as equals 4 plus 6. That gives me 10. I'm subtracting equals 4 minus 6. That gives me minus 2. Again, if I just type 4 minus 6, nothing happens. It gives me, as soon as I put in the date, which is 4th of, that's 6th of January, February, March, April, 6th of April, but that's not what we're doing. Multiplication, I'm going to type equals 4 times 6. So that times is shift and 8, 4 times shift, and I press enter, that gives me 24. If I want to divide, equals 4 divided by 6. That's just the normal slash beside the shift. And that gives me this decimal point, 0.66. If I want to raise 4 to the power of 6, I'm taking equals 4 raised to the power of 6. And that gives me this number. So those are the basic operations in Excel, basic math operations. Very simple. Okay, best practices. We're going to look at these best practices one by one. The first thing is always use board mass to keep formulas short and simple. So when you are working in Excel, one thing you should always be concerned about, and I think I mentioned in last class, is the file size. And apart from increasing your data, when you have a lot of data on your Excel workbook, you can increase your file size. Another thing that can increase your file size is when you have unnecessarily long formulas. So instead of us to, we're going to look at this example now of how to use board mass to solve unnecessarily complicated Excel formulas. So those of us that don't like math, they're like, math in secondary school, you hated it or whatever. Well, here you're going to have to work with math again. Board mass in secondary school, you had brackets, off, division, multiplication, addition. In other words, this is like how the order of operations in normal maths. So Excel understands board mass, and then we apply it. So for instance, we want to write 2 plus 3 times 4. And I take into bracket 2 plus 3 times 4. And I also take in bracket 2 plus 3 times 4. These three formulas will not give me the same answer, simply because of board mass. So let me type the first one. Remember, I'm starting with an equal to 2 plus 3 times 4. Now, board mass is saying that it's going to do the bracket first. There's no bracket. There's no exponent. So we're moving on. There's no division. There's multiplication. So instead of going to do 2 plus 3 first, it first of all do 3 times 4, which will give me 12. Then to do the addition, plus 2. So if I press enter here, I'm going to have 14. That's 3 times 4 plus 2, 14. For those of us that knew math, that liked math in secondary school and primary school, this is basically a recap of the math that we did then. But it's just trying to explain that Excel also follows the normal math rules of board math. Now, in this case, I'm going to have 2 plus 3 times 4. We're going to see an example of this in this case study when we get here. But we're going to, before we get there, I just want to explain so that we can have concise formulas and see how we can work these formulas out. So 2 plus 3 times 4. In this case, I'm going to type equal to, open bracket, 2 plus 3, close the bracket, then times 4. Now, what's happening here is that bracket is going to take the precedence. So Excel is first going to add 2 plus 3 because that's what's in the bracket. So 2 plus 3 is 5. So 5 times 4, that's going to give me 20, right? So that's basic board math, and that's how board math works. And look at this example now. This is an example of where we have unnecessary characters. So look at this, equals 2 plus, open bracket, 3 times 4, 3 times 4, close bracket, right? Now, based on board mass, we're going to multiply the bracket. We're going to do what's in the bracket first, right? So after doing that, what's in the bracket, we're now going to add the 2. If I press this enter, I'm going to have the same 14 I had here. In other words, I actually didn't need to put these brackets here. I could have removed these brackets, and then I've still gotten the same answer based on what I actually want to get. But that's just understanding how board mass works. So you can have very complicated formulas and combine everything into one single cell formula, if that's what you want to do. Okay, I'm assuming that what I just said is understandable and fair. Please, if I say anything that you don't understand, feel free to unmute and ask me a question, or to just put it in the comment section so that I can get to those comments. Okay, so the best first practice is always use board mass. That's very simple. Second one, keep formula inputs in cells and reference the cell. Avoid hard coding in formulas. I see this a lot. There are many files where somebody maybe wants to increase something by 2%. Let's say I have 1,000. I want to increase the 1,000 by 2%, and I'll say equals this times 102 times 1.02. That's to increase it by 2%. This is nice, but the problem is that for those of us that don't understand why I multiply by 1.02 is basically mass. You are adding 2% to 1. 2% plus 100 is 102. So that's multiplied by 1.02. That's how I got this. So, but the problem here is that if I want to change this 2% now to 3%, I have to go back into the formula and change this 2 to 3, and then come out here. What this is saying is that keep formula inputs in cells and reference the cell. What it's saying is that instead of me to do this, what I will have done is I will have said maybe increase I'll put the 3% here. I'm going to talk about how to deal with percentages very shortly. So now I put the 3% here. I can now come and say equals this cell times, I put in bracket 1 plus this cell and then close the bracket. Again, what we're doing is that I'm taking the increase here, I'm adding 1 to it, and I'm multiplying by the content of this cell. I'm going to explain this in greater detail later. So even if you don't understand the formula, just understand that the point I'm saying, if I say equals times equals 1 plus this cell and I close it, now that gives me 30%. The good news is that I can come here and I can change this to 5% and immediately this updates. If I've linked maybe 10 or 12 or 14 cells to this same one cell, I don't need to go and change all of those cells. I can just change one cell and everything updates. So that's what this best practice is saying here. Always keep formula inputs in cells and then reference the cell. Okay. Another best practice, label all formula inputs clearly for ease of use and for understanding. So I've said like this one, I've labeled it increase. In this case, you can see there's a weekly discount per customer, 5%. It's easily labeled. I see a lot of Excel files, right, where I'll just see some numbers randomly put in different cells. You always want to clearly name your files, name each number so that you can know what each number means and how to use it. Okay, more on formulas. Let's talk about how to reference a cell. I just referenced the cell number. What's the real walkthrough? Assuming you have never referenced a cell before, you're just practically new to this. The first way to reference a cell is to type in the cell reference. So let me delete all this. We're going to take this example of adding. I have these two numbers here, 2 and 4. Unlike here, where we add the numbers hard coded into the cell, you can see here it equals 4 plus 6. Here equals 4 minus 6. Now I have the two numbers that I want to work with in the cells, right? And now I want to work on those cells. I want to link to those cells so that if I change this number, I want the answer here to change. So there are two ways of, there are many ways of referencing cells. The first way is to type in the cell reference. So this 2 is sitting in cell B24. How do I know? This is column B, this is row 24, so that's B24. Or I can go to the name bar, I can see B24 here. Whereas this cell is sitting in cell C24. So if I want to add it, I can say equals B24. Sorry, that's B24. So as I type B24, I can see that there is a selection on that cell. It means I got the cell reference right. Then I'm adding saying plus C24. I'm going to type C24. Okay. Now that I have these two, I can press enter. Now what I've done is I've referenced these two cells so that if I change this from 2 to 3, it updates. Okay. So that's the first way, and most times I only do that when I want to edit cells. That's not really the best way to type in a reference, because like you could be down here, then you have to start looking for is this AA 155 or whatever. That's not the best way. Okay. Second way to reference a cell is to use the arrow keys. Now I'll go to writing a formula here. We're going to subtract this cell from this cell, past 5 minus 1. Once I type the equal to, I'm in enter mode. As soon as I type, let me type it. Once I type the equal to, I can start moving around with my arrow keys. I'm just moving up, left, down, right, center. So now, if I want to go to cell B25, I can go there. I just move my arrow to B25. Then minus, I can still move my arrow to this. Once I press enter, that gives me 4. So I could have typed B25 minus C25, or I could have just used my arrow keys to still give me the same value, which is 4. Okay. Another way to reference cells is to use the mouse. So here I want to multiply this cell by this cell. So I can just say equals, and I can just move my mouse and select it. Now, one thing about selecting is that notice that as I've selected it, it has not selected the cell because this thing is still dancing up and down. All this is still moving, which means I can still change my selection. Now I'm just clicking, I'm selecting different places. But I want to select this cell. So I've selected this cell times this cell. I just move my mouse on it and I select. Once I press enter. So that's another way of, so those are the major 3 ways of selecting, writing cell references. You can either type it out, or you can move your mouse, or you can use your what's it called? Your keyboard to just move around. So this one, I'm just going to say equals, I'm using my arrow, minus arrow. Sorry, that's division. I'll be sorry, equals arrow divided by this, and that gives me this. This is 3 raised to power, so I can say equals this, shift 6 raised to power this, and I press enter. So that's how you reference the cell. Pretty straightforward and pretty easy. I hope I'm not being too fast, and I'm assuming everybody understands everything I'm saying so far. Okay, so with that, we're going to look at how to edit cell references. So in other words, what if I want to change the content of the cell? For instance, here, this is division, 14 minus 12. Let's assume I wanted to change this to addition, right? How do I do that? There are 2 ways of editing the cell reference. Number 1 is to press F2 or to double click, just the way we did in the last class. So I can come here and press. First of all, I have to select the cell. Select the cell. I want to change this formula. I can see I'm dividing. Let's say I don't want to divide again. I want to add, right? I can press F2. F2. That takes me to edit mode. Now I can just move and just normal edit and change this to add, and that changes the formula. All right? Or I can double click to edit the cell. So if I come here, I select the cell, I double click. Just and I can change this back to division, and I'm back to where I was. So that's that about that. So select this cell reference and edit. Yes, I've explained that. So you can move the cell reference on the sheet. This one is really nifty in the sense that, let's assume, for instance, let's say I have 2 numbers here. Number A is 12, number B is 10, and number C is 13, 15 rather. If I have the sum here, sum 2 numbers. Let me say sum 2 numbers. Okay, I assume I'm adding A and B, so that's going to be equals A plus B, and that gives me 22. But let's assume that I don't want to add A and B. I actually wanted to add A and C. Now, if I double click, like I said, I can either come and change this. What if I want to change the reference itself? There are many ways of changing the reference itself. I can come here, and this is, I want to move from H18, which is this 10, to H19. Or yeah, H19. So I can come and change this 18 and backwards and change it to 19. And what I've done is that I've changed the reference. There's no more referencing this cell, it's not referencing this cell. What I press OK, that gives me 27. Or I can click on the cell and I can go to the edge of the cell. Once you go to the edge of the cell, you will see that there is this arrow, 4-way arrow. You can click on it, you can drag, and just replace it. That's another way of editing a cell reference. Once you have selected the cell reference, you can change it by either, maybe I want to change this to H10. That changes that to H10. Let's go back to H17. Or I can click on it and I can move it around like this. So those are 2 ways of editing the cell reference. Okay. Now, this is very important. The actual formula can be seen in the formula bar, whereas the value shows in the cell. So for instance, this formula that I have here, let's assume I want to add these 5 numbers. I can come here and say equals this plus this plus this plus this, then plus this. I pick the last cell here. Once I press enter, that gives me 15. Okay. But if I click on this 15, I will see the actual formula here showing in the formula bar, just like we explained last time, the last class. The actual formula is showing in the formula bar, but the value of 15 is what I'm saying. So what is here is not 15, it's actually this formula, but the value is showing. So if I want to edit it, instead of me to even double click, I can actually just go to the formula bar and also edit. Once I click on it, I can see that, oh, I'm referencing these cells, each of them individually. And if I want to, maybe I wanted to change this 5 here, I can just click on it and drag and move it here and enter. Now, I'm no more selecting this 5 here. I'm selecting, if I come here and I click here, I can see I'm selecting 1, 2, 3, 4, and this 5, and this 5th one here. I can come here, move to the edge until it is, and just drag back. And that takes me back to the formula I had. Okay, so note that what you are seeing is not necessarily what is in the cell. Okay. Now let's look at functions. Functions are pre-programmed keywords that can be used to perform various actions. So, for example, when I am working in Excel, never in my life am I going to come here and do what I just did. There is a function that adds up all the numbers and put it in Excel. It's called the sum function. And that's basically what I'm going to use, because as I've put in all these cells now, if I come here and insert a cell and insert a row, how do I insert? Just select the row, right click, and then insert. That inserts a row. If I come here and I put in a new number, like maybe 25, this doesn't update. Why? Because it is picking this cell, this cell, this cell, this cell, and this cell. That doesn't update. But if it was a function that was here, as soon as I insert a cell, it's going to update, and we're going to see that very soon. So I said the most frequently used function is the sum function, and all functions have arguments which can be mandatory or optional. We're going to look at that very soon. Arguments are separated by commas. Optional arguments are always in brackets, and this is an actual formula. So here we can see what I'm saying is that once I type equals sum and I open bracket and I select my range, this number one, number two, and everything, they're called arguments. They are arguments of the function. That is, they are what the function needs to actually produce a result. And we're going to look at how we can look at that now. Let me open my Excel. All right, so I don't want to do this having to add 1 plus this plus this plus this. I just want a formula that's going to add this entire range. We're going to calculate functions in a bit, but before we do, let me just type it equals sum and press tab and select this range. Let me come to the formula bar so you can see it more clearly. Let me type here equals sum tab, select this range. Now what has happened here is that I've put in a function that is going to sum up everything in this range. And we're going to go to how to actually impute functions very soon. Once I close it and I press enter, it adds that 25. So that if I come here, if I right click and I insert, let's say I add another number here, 100. Now it adds that 100 because that 100 is in the range. If I come here and I go to the formula bar, 100 is part of the numbers that I've selected, is in that range. So if I insert any number into this range, it's going to add it up. So that's just one function. There are many other functions. But now, as I'm on the formula bar, you notice that I can see number one, number two in brackets. Anytime you see anything in bracket, it means that that argument is optional. If I press comma, I have another number two. I can come and select another range here. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying add up this range, also add up this range, right? I can select this range like this. I can select a range, I can select any range like that. Once I press enter, it adds up this range. If I double click, I'm saying that I'm adding up this range. I'm also adding up this range. So instead of me to have to go and be picking it one by one, a function is already pre-built into Excel to do all that for me, to do the heavy lifting. Okay, so how do you insert Excel functions? There are two ways of inserting Excel functions. The first way is not really that common. But it's basically for those that are just starting Excel. You know, just starting for the first time. You most likely want to use this first way of inserting up functions, and that's to use this insert function symbol. So let me open Excel again. Let's assume I want to write a function that is going to add up all these numbers.
Sorry, hello, sir.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
Could you place your cursor on the exponents 3 and
I can't hear you clearly.
see the
Hello?
formula bar? Because I'm not getting 656.
Okay, you're not getting this number here.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you better now.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, I'm not getting 6561.
Okay, so again, let me just
I just want to see.
Clear.
Yeah, I
Equals.
just want to see the formula in the formula bar.
So equals this cell.
Place the cursor on the 6561.
I want to write the formula again so you can see this cell raised to power, that's shift and 6. When I press shift and 6, you see this correct. Raised to power this, I press enter. If I click on it, you can see the formula here. It's B28 raised to power C28. So I'm saying whatever is in B28, raise it to the power, whatever is in
Okay,
C28.
I just got it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, you're welcome. Okay. That's fine. It's good to see that people are actually following along and actually trying these things, because, like I said, the more you try it, the better you get. Okay, so I was talking about how to insert a function. The first way of inserting a function is to click on this icon here. Let's say I want to sum up all these. I want to add all this. I can click on this icon here. Once I click on it, this is what we call the insert function dialog box. I can type a brief description of what I want. I want to add numbers, and I click go. And then it will give me a list of the functions that it thinks, might be able to do what I just asked for. Once I click, and I know that, okay, this is what I want. I want to solve for. Once I click on OK, then this function arguments will come out, and I can start putting the arguments one by one. So what are the numbers I want to add? I want to add these numbers. Once I press OK, Excel puts in the formula for me, and then I get my answer correctly. Whereas, while this is for those that I don't recommend this method at all, because I think it's kind of confusing. Sometimes you may not know what arguments are and everything. The second way is basically to type in the function, which we're going to do a lot of the next few slides. How do you type a function? First of all, you select where you want to start the function. You press the equal to sign, because a function is just a formula, a coded formula, basically. That's what the function is, a formula with a code. Press equal to sign, you type in the name of the function, you select the function by pressing tab or by pressing the open bracket, then you fill in the arguments, and then you press enter. Okay, let's try that together now. So I want to type in the sum function. I want to add up all these items. So first thing says equal to, right? Then it says type in the name of the function. I know once I type S, I'll see a list of all the functions that start with S. I know that the function is SUM, that's sum function. Once I type U, I see on that list of everything that starts with SU. I can see my sum here. I can press up and down to select, right? So most times what I do is that once I go to that, once you select the function you want, you can either double click like this or SUM and press tab. Once I press the tab function, it selects the function. If I just type equals SUM and I select this like this, it's not going to work. It's going to give me an error because I've not selected that function yet, which is what I know. I noticed that when people actually make that error, you always want to select the function first before you go and select the range. So again, equals SUM. Then you can either press tab, or if you spell the function out, just press open bracket. Now, once I see this, I know that yes, I've selected the function. The next is to go and select the range. I want to select this range like this, and I press enter. So the same thing works for different kind of functions, VLOOKUP, match, index, the same idea. You press equal to, you start typing the function, then you select the function with either tab or you open bracket, and then you select your arguments, and that's that. So that's pretty clear. Again, if there's something I've said that you have missed or you tried, did not get, just like he did, please let me know, and I would go back to try to explain. Okay. So that's basically how you press a function. And don't forget, like we mentioned last time, if I type equals SUM tab, right? Select this range, I close the bracket. If I press enter, my selection cursor is going to come down. If I don't want my selection cursor to go down, I press Control and enter. Remember, we did that last week so that I can put in the function into that cell. Okay, moving on. Now, basic statistical function. These are the functions that, as a newcomer to Excel, you should just at least know about them and know how to use them. First one is the sum function. It adds all the numbers in the range of cell. The average function returns the average, which is the arithmetic mean. Add all the numbers divided by the count. Count counts all the numbers. Counter counts all the numbers of cell and not. We're going to look at the difference between these two functions very soon. Mark returns the maximum and mean returns the minimum. at least you should be very comfortable working with these 6 functions. If you can work with these 6 functions, you will be able to do quite a lot in Excel. So let's scroll down. We have this data set here. I have numbers, I have text, I have empty space, and I have some more numbers, right? I want to find the total, I want to find the average, I want to find the count of the numbers, I want to find the count of the non-empty cells, I want to find the maximum number here, I want to find the minimum number. So again, just like these are the names of the functions. I just need to type those functions out. First one equals, I'm looking for a total, so I'm typing SUM. I see my function, I press tab. I select the data set and press enter. So the sum of this, everything here is 25. It's 125. Once I come here, I can see 125 down here. So I know that that function is correct. I want to find the average of these numbers. But that means, can I add text? Yes, the sum function can work with text. But very, very important, look at this. If I press, watch this one. If I press equals this plus this, that gives me 71. But if I press equals this plus this, that gives me an error. When you are adding, if you add like the normal plus, if you put the normal this plus this, and you are adding text plus number, you're going to get an error. But if you allow text within a range of cells with sum, you're going to get a whole number back. So for instance, if I type equals sum, and I press nice, I press comma, and I select this as well, and I press enter, I'm just going to give me 39. So sum can work with text, but normal addition cannot. I just said I should chip that in so that in case you you know that you see an error, you can say, oh, because you're adding text with numbers, or if you put it in a sum function, it works fine. So let me delete this. Average, so the formula is just average equals AVER. I can see that it's already selected. I can press tab to select it. Or I can press equals AVERAGE, then I press open parenthesis. Well, I mean, because AVER tab, that's much better. Select the range and then enter. So the average of these numbers is 25, right? Now, count of numbers. If I type equals COUNT tab, and I select this range, right? And I press enter, it's going to give me 5. But if I select everything here like this, if I come down here, my status bar, I can see that we have 6 data. There are 6 things selected, whereas count is only giving me 5. Well, because count only counts, let me put it here, count only counts numbers. If you use the count function, it only counts numbers. It's not going to count this text. What if I wanted to count the number plus the text? There's a function called count A. Count A. All right. Once I select count A, I can select this and drag this down and press and select. Now it gives me 6, telling me that there are 6 non-empty cells here. It's not going to count this empty cell because there's nothing there, so it's not going to count it, right? But it's telling me if I drag this down, I can see count here, 6. That's what this one tells me. The normal count itself, COUNT, that one only counts numbers. All right. So to get the maximum, there's a function called max equals MAX. Tab, select your range, enter. That gives you 41. To get the minimum number equals MIN, tab, select your range, and then enter. So these are basic statistical functions, and the major thing to know the difference of is between count and counter. So if I want to count everything here, I'm going to use a equals counter, COUNT, and A, and I can select everything here. It's going to count both the numbers and the text. That's 20. But if I just use the count and I select this range, it's telling me that there are only 11 numbers in this range. All right. I assume that we understand what everything I just taught. Is there any question? Okay, great. Actually, if you follow the last class and you understand most of the things I taught in last class, you just follow along and because like I said, this is just still fundamentals of Excel and how to use Excel. Okay, so there's something called the AutoSum. What this AutoSum does is that it helps you to automatically put in a sum function. We're going to use that next, basically. So we have home. How do I put in this auto sum? Let's say I come here. I want to add up these numbers again, right? On the home tab, there's something called auto sum. Once I click on it, it puts in a sum function and it guesses the range it wants me to add up. It just guesses. So here's the sum function, and it's guessing that I want to add up this range. And it's guessing that because I put in the formula just beside it. Once I press, now this guess is right. I can just press enter, and that's fine, right? Now, if I move to this home auto sum, I can see that there's a shortcut. The shortcut there is Alt and equal to. I wrote it down here. Alt equals. Once I press Alt and equals, it also puts in that auto sum. So if I come here and I hold Alt down and I press equals, select that range, and that puts in the 140 there for me. Okay. So that's for the auto sum. Here are some common errors. We're going to look at these errors in detail in the advanced level class. In the premium class, we're going to look at what these errors mean. But generally, if you type in a wrong argument in the function, you get this value error. If you divide by 0, you get this error. This NA has to do, maybe you're looking at something, you didn't find it. We're going to look at this in detail in the next advanced level class. Okay, so more on formula and functions, copying and pasting formulas. Now, in this is where we're going to get our hands dirty. Here's a simple case study, right? You have this transactional data. You have Monday, Tuesday. You have sales on Monday. You sold to these 5 people, right? Yinka, Dayo, Hannah, Femi, and Paul. So you sold to them on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And these are the sales. Now, let's say you want to get the totals for each of these days. So I can come here and type total, right? I want to get total for Monday. I want to get total for Tuesday and Wednesday. So let's get total for the first one. I know that because I'm getting total, the first thing I'm going to do is I want to use my sum function. Is this sum function I'm going to use to get my totals, right? So I'm going to type equals SUM, select it, and I can come here, select my range here, and press enter. So that tells me that on Monday, to everybody here, I sold 2,400 as net revenue to these guys. Or I could have come to, I need to select the cell first, not here. I need to go under here and I can select auto sum. I click on it, auto sum. It puts in the sum function and it assumes that I want to add up everything up here, which actually is what I want to do. So once I press enter, it puts in the formula here. Okay. So now, how do I copy and paste formula? I can use my normal Control-C, Control-V, enter to copy and paste. So in this case, I want to take this formula for total and I want to just copy it for Tuesday, for Wednesday, for Thursday, for Friday. I can select this, Control-C. Remember we said hold Shift and press right to select everything. And then I can press Control-V. Now what has happened is that it has taken this formula and it has copied it all the way down. If I want to know the content of the cell, I can press F2. Once I press F2, I can see that it's speaking what is here. If I come here to this last place, I press F2, you can see it's speaking rightly, F6 to F10, and it's adding up for me nicely. Okay, so again, that's one way of copying formulas. If I want to copy formulas, another way of copying formulas is to use the autofill. We discussed autofill in the last class, where you can go to this downward, this black sign here, click on it, click and drag. Once I click and drag, it copies the formula all the way. Okay, that's another way of copying formula from Monday to Friday. All right. Another way of copying formula is to press F2 and then Control Enter. Okay, so this is going to be really useful in the next part of this course, where we are going to look at a little bit of data analysis and how to analyze data, right? So in this case, let me delete all this again. I'm going to type in the formula here equals sum, right? Select everything here and then press enter. Now I want to fill in everything here like this. I can hold my shift 1, 2, 3, 4, right? If I press F2, I put it in edit mode. Notice that I'm on cell B11, but I pre-selected B11 down to F11. Once I press F2 and I press Control Enter, we discussed this in the last class that if I select a range, if I type something here and I press Control Enter, it puts in that thing into that entire range. So another way of filling a formula is to First of all, in fact, what I can do is I can even first of all select the entire range. I want to fill in from Monday to Friday, straight up. So I'm going to say equals SUM tab, select this. I want this formula to copy its way all the way down. So I press Control and then Enter. That's another way of copying it down. All right. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to take another example. Let's assume that for the week, I want to know the total. So I can put total here. I want to know Yinka's total. I want to know Dayos total. I want to know Hannah's total. And I want everything to be down this way. So all I need to do is to come here and say equals sum. Select this range. I'm holding Shift and selecting. That's what I'm doing. Or I can say equals SUM tab. Use my cursor to select the range. And now I can use my autofill to drag down like this, or I can even drag down to this end here. Or another thing I can do is that if I have a lot of data, I can come select this and I can double click. If I double click here, 1, 2, it copies and just copies the formula down all the way to the end, right? And then I can just copy this formula here and I have my grand total. So in this case, I can see a very, very simple report telling me that on Monday, we sold this amount, Tuesday, we sold this amount, Wednesday, we sold this amount, Thursday, we sold this amount. We sold this amount to Hannah on Tuesday, but for the entire week, we sold this amount to Hannah. Now, it's time for some shortcuts. What if I have this information like this, and I want to put in all the information, I want to put in the sum here, as well as the total. There is a very beautiful shortcut on how to actually do that. What you need to do is to select the entire range and also select where you want the totals to be. I want totals to be here, and I want totals to be here. That's what I'm going for. I want totals here and here. So I select the entire range, and then I press my Alt equals for auto sum. I'm going to press Alt equals now, Alt and equals. And Excel puts in all those formulas straight up. Okay. So that's a kind of a hack in case you want to quickly add formulas. Select your range. Again, let me do that again so it's clear. I have these formulas in a rectangular, what's it called? I want to put totals here, and I also want totals here. So I can select this entire range like this. I just press Alt equals. Once I do that, it puts in the formulas. And that is that about that. Okay. Okay, yeah. So you can fill right Control R, then fill down Control D. If you are into accounting, you will do a lot of fill. So what that means is, let's say I have this formula here, and I want to copy this formula to the right. I can select this range and press Control R. Pressing Control R will just take whatever formula is here and just copy it to the right. The same thing, if I want to copy it, I have to make sure that my formula is in the first cell though. My formula has to be in the first cell. I'm going to press Control D now. If I press Control D, it copies that formula down. So those are just some hacks for how to, speed up your work, right, if you are copying formulas and all. Okay. Moving on. Now, this is very important. Relative and absolute references. Very, very important. Let's look at this formula, all right? What we are doing here is we're adding up all these guys. If I come to the formula bar, I can see I'm taking up all these guys and I'm adding it. Simple. If I come down here and I press F2, I can see I'm adding up everything here. If I come down here, press F2, I'm adding up everything here. So basically, I'm just telling Excel to keep going, add up everything to the right, to the left rather. Just go to the left, add up everything, Now, look at this example. We have weekly discount per customer. In other words, at the end of every week, I want to give each customer a discount, and I'm giving them a 5% discount. So if I come to this column here and I type discount, right? I want to take the total revenue I got from that customer, and I want to multiply it by this 5, so I can get the discount I'm going to give that customer. So if I take equals this multiplied by 5, and I press enter. So that means I'm going to give Yinka a discount of 110. If I come and drag this formula down, I'm getting some wrong numbers. And I know that these numbers cannot be right. Now I need to find out what's going on. If I press F2 here, I see I'm taking this cell and I'm multiplying by this cell, which is the discount, right? If I press enter and I press F2 here, now look at this. This cell is also coming down. It's also coming down. It's coming down. It's coming down. It's coming down. That's not what I want. What I want to do is I want to keep this cell locked. And then this one keeps going out. So what I want is I want this cell to be locked, this one to be locked rather. I want this D3, I don't want it to move. I want it to be on this place. Whereas this total here, I want it to keep coming down. I want to keep coming down like that. So how do I do that? How do I do that? I need to use what we call absolute references. So there are two ways of entry, making a cell an absolute reference. The first way is to enter the dollar signs. So what does that mean? Let me delete this. I'm going to type. This is one of the cases where you might need to edit your formula. So normally I want to take equals this and then multiply by this. That should be my formula. But now I want this cell to be fixed. I don't want it to move. I want it to be fixed. So I need to put dollar signs before the D. Dollar sign is shift 4. And also dollar signs before the 3. These two dollar signs, what it's doing there is fixing this cell. So now if I drag this down, look at that. If I come to the end here, you can see it's picking this cell, or it's still picking this one as fixed. If I press F2 here, say this times this. If I come here, F2, this times still this. It's not moving. F2, this times this. F2, this times this. F2, this times this. So basically, what that does is that it freezes this cell and allows the other one to move. I'm assuming that what I just did is clear. I'm going to take that again. Equals this times this, and I'm going to come and put my dollar signs here and dollar signs here. And then I can double click here on the and send it down. I can copy this formula. Oh, sorry, this one. I copy this formula, and that gives me my total discount. All right.
So
now,
my question.
Okay. Yes. Question.
Why did you put the dollar sign in front and behind? What if you put the dollar sign in front or behind? What happens?
Okay. So let's take an experiment. If I put the dollar sign, if I remove the dollar sign here and I put dollar sign here like this, that's going to be an error. Actually, this dollar sign, what it actually means is that you are freezing the row and the column. Remember that this, if I double click here, so let me delete all this and start again. Equals this times this. What I'm saying is take whatever is in cell G6 and then multiply it to whatever is in cell D3. That's basically what this formula is saying. Take cell G6, multiply with cell G3. Now, if I put a dollar sign before the D, what this dollar sign is saying is freeze column D. That's the meaning of this dollar sign. All right. Now, if I put the dollar sign before this 3, it's now saying freeze row 3. So that means I'm freezing this column. I'm not allowing it to move. The dollar sign has to be before it. So before the D and before the 3. I hope that is clear.
Yeah, that's clear. Thank you.
Yeah. So once I copy that, that gives me the. So anytime you do formulas like this, always ensure that you go to the last cell in the range and double click and check that your formula is picking the right thing. Because one thing about Excel is that one wrong linking, just link something wrong once, and then everything will start showing up wrong answers. Okay. So that is that. But of course, as a lazy person, one of the things I taught in the last class is that you have to be a lazy person, a lazy analyst. Now, you're always looking for shortcuts or easy ways of getting things done. So as a lazy person, you need to understand that you actually don't even need to put in those dollar signs manually. If I click on this, if I press F4, the dollar signs will come there automatically. So let's take an example. I want to type in the formula again, equals this times this cell, and I press F4. Excel automatically puts in that dollar sign for me. There's another, if I press F4 again, it begins to cycle through the row and the column, but I don't want to go into that because that's a little advanced. But just know that once again, this times this, I have to make sure that my cursor is on the cell I want to freeze. It has to be on the cell I want to freeze. Once it's on the cell I want to freeze, I press my F4 and that locks it. And I can press enter, I can double click and send that down, copy and paste. and that gives me the same thing. Okay. I think that's clear. If there's any question, please let me know. If there's not, we'll be moving on because I want to finish. I want to ensure that we finish this class today. Okay, so paste special is very, very important if you want to copy and paste formulas. Okay, let's assume that I want these numbers here. I just want to take the total here and I copy it. If I come down and I paste it, what happens is that the formulas go with it. You can see the formulas go with it. Assume I don't need the formulas. I just want the total. That's all I want. Maybe I want to get total. I come here, I copy. Let me see. I copy what is here, come here, and I paste it. Then I want to know what the total discount is. If I come here, if I copy and I paste it here, I'm going to start having errors because it's trying to move and it's not giving me what I want. That's not what I want. I can copy and paste. If I copy this, if I select here, right click, I can paste values because it's already showing me that I can paste the values without the formulas. I can paste the formula, which is going to be an error, and I can even paste as a link. If I click on it, if I paste as a link now, if I double click on this, you see that what Excel is just doing is that it has linked to that cell. So that if I come and change this 0 to 124, watch this dial here. If I press enter, it's all linked. So I copied and pasted as a link. But to get full power of copying and pasting, you need to use what we call the paste special. So if I copy this and I come here, there are two ways of getting to paste special. You can click on this downward arrow and go to paste special. This is paste special here, or you can press Alt ES. If I press Alt ES, I can see this dialog box and I can copy just the formula. I can copy just the values. I can copy just the formats and the rest. But I just want to copy the values and press OK. So that's how to copy without copying the formula. Let me delete that. Sorry. That's how to copy without copying the formulas. All right. Cell formatting. Very, very. This one is just to as a side, just to learn a little bit about cell formatting. You can format the cell font. Now there are two things you format majorly when you are formatting a cell. You can format the content or you can format the cell itself. You see this font area here mostly has to do with formatting both the cell content and the cell itself. So this is where you can do things like change the font, you can change the size, you can increase or decrease, you can make it bold or anything. So in this case, let's say I want to make this bold, I want to give it a dark color and a white background. So I can just select this entire thing, Control B to make it bold. Come here, select maybe this color, any color I like. I like this color personally, actually. So I select this and I can come here, and this is font color, and give it a white font color. And I've formatted the headers, just like that. So just play around with it. Look at the various things you can do to format. These totals and these totals, I can format them separately. So I can come here. Most times you want to make your totals bold. Then this is where you can put in your borders. These borders that you see here, these grid lines, they are not borders. They are not borders. It is here. This is where you see the borders actually. So you can select this drop down. You can see, you can give it a top border, a bottom border. Most times, if you are working in accounting, you always want to use. I always prefer to use a top and a thick bottom. Once I click on it, it gives you the top line and a thick bottom line. And if I remove the grid lines, it will show it clearly. So I can make this. And this is a much better looking report already. Just a little clicks of, giving the title a little cosmetic change. And of course, I might want to format this as well because they are totals. I can just come here and give them maybe this color, or maybe I can just pick any color and then put in a bottom border. And that's how easy it is to change it. Look at this. If I Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. From looking like this to very quickly changing it and making it look a little bit more professional. Control B to make it bold, select, Control B to make it bold, come to borders, give it a bottom, top, and that's this top and thick bottom. select this, and then let me give you this background color. Okay, I can use this one. And I can just use maybe a bottom border here. So we did just a few clicks, and something that was looking, kind of empty is now looking kind of fine, looking like a report that you can send out. Just a few clicks, just so you can play around with this. But these are some of my own personal formatting styles when I produce reports. Give the header a clear design and then make the totals stand out. Okay, moving on. There's also number formatting, and this number formatting is very interesting. So I can see here that these, maybe I want to put comma style. I want to, format them anyhow. Look at this. So here is where I do most of my number formatting. Here, if I select this entire range, this one here is a very quick accounting style. If I click on it, it gives you the comma, then gives you 2 decimal places. Most times, that's what you want. I can select this range and double click so that it makes everything clear to see. Sometimes, okay, I don't want those, I don't want the decimal points. I can come here and decrease decimal. This is increase decimal, this is decrease decimal. I can. Now, if I want full control over whether it has decimal point or doesn't have decimal point, or it looks, if I want full control, I can select this range and press, and either right click, go to format cells, or I can press Control 1. So if I come here, let me see. I can right click, go to format cell, go to Control 1. Okay, so again, select the cells, Control 1. When I go to Control 1, I have a lot of power. I can choose number. I can say, okay, I want 1,000 separator or not. I can tell you how many decimal places I want or I don't want. You can choose a currency. I can decide to show a symbol. Maybe I want to look for Naira symbol. This is Naira here. I can make everything like this. Let's say I like this, and I press OK. Maybe this is how I want my report to be, because I like to show that this is Naira and this is what's it called, a comma. So basically, you have all the power. Once you press Control 1, you can change it to accounting. If it's a date, you can format it as a date. If it's a percentage, you can format as a percentage. Just play around with this. And for me, I mostly use number formats. I just put 1,000 separator and no decimal place. When I press OK, this is what I tend to use. But you can play around with it and have fun and really look at the various things you can do with that. Okay, so that's number formatting. Now, this is for me, this is the meat of today's class. We're going to look at how to analyze data, basics of understanding how to analyze data. And very, very important, we're going to use these data sets, and we're going to analyze these data sets, and we're going to come up with we're going to have 3 activities we're going to do, and I'm going to drive home how to analyze data using formulas. We have learned about formulas, we've learned about how to add, how to multiply, to do everything. I've learned about how to fix cell references. So now we're going to have a practical session with this data. We're going to analyze data, and we're going to come up with various reports that could mean different things to different people. But before we do that, we need to understand how to set up a database in Excel. Basics of how to set up a database. So this is for if you're an analyst, you're a sales analyst, you are in HR, you are doing anything that has to do with database, and you want to set up database and be able to produce reports in database from the database. Here are the best practices that you can learn that can help you in your analysis. Number 1, have clear headers and format them accordingly. Ensure that, for me, I always like, so people don't like to start their data from cell A1. I personally like to ensure that my data set starts from cell A1 and my headers are clear. For instance, see the difference between product, soft drink, gala, soft drink. This product is not different. I need to be able to distinguish and say, these are headers, this is data. So what I will do here, just like I did, I can select this, Control B to make it bold, give it that my dark, and make it font white. Now I can see that this is my header. For some people, just making it bold might be enough, all right, to distinguish headers from bold. Here, I like to go all out. So that's there. I've So that's the first thing. Ensure that you have clear headers and your headers are clearly formatted. Okay, avoid empty rows and columns. Very important, very important. I see a lot of data sets where you see empty row like this. There's nothing inside the row. If there's nothing in the row, delete the row. You don't need it. So just right click and delete. Why? Because for instance, if I say I want to go to the last cell, remember in the last class, I told you that if you want to move, you can press Control and then arrow to move up or down or left or right. Now, if I press Control and down, look at this. It got cut off. Whereas there's still data here, but I got cut off because, and I just, okay, Control Shift this, and I copy this, and I've not selected the entire ring, which is why you don't want to have empty spaces within your data when you're working in Excel. So here, I'm going to select this row, and then, by the way, the shortcut to delete a row, just press Control minus. So to delete a row or a column, just press Control minus. That deletes that. Or you can right click and then go to delete. That's another way of doing that. So that's the second. First of all, have clear headers, avoid empty rows. Next one, each column should have the right type of data. Very, very important. Each column has to have the right type of data, right? So now, this is a date column. Remember, we talked about dates last class, and we said for most people, sometimes your date might be, so if I want to put in a date now, today it is 16th of October. I'm not going to type 16/10/2021. This is not a date. If I move to the right, I can see that Excel has left aligned, so this is not a date. I need to start 10/16/2021. Now, Excel right aligns it, telling me that this is a date. Fine. Okay. So now I can come to this date here and I can just do a visual cue. Okay. I can do a visual cue. If I scroll down, I can see that this is not a date. Somebody wanted to type the 15th of January, February, March, April, of April. The person type 15/4. I can see Excel is giving me a visual cue that this is not a date. I can see that. Oh, I can see another one here too. This is not a date. So I need to ensure that everything on my date column is actually a date. So in this case, I can come here and say, it's supposed to be. Does somebody have a question? Okay. All right. So as I was saying, this is not a date. So I can come here and change this. I can double click here and say, this is supposed to be 4/15/2021. I press enter and Excel right align and tell me, okay, yes, this is now a valid date. This also is not a date. So I can say, this is supposed to be 5/20. So remember, it depends on how your settings is on your system. That's how Excel is going to relate with dates. Okay. So as I was saying, so other dates, so customer, everything here, I can see customer 31. There's no customer like 31. So this is maybe this is supposed to be orders or something. And somebody else can put customer 31. Let me scroll down and see if there's any other. So this is volumes. I'm expecting just numbers, quantity of products sold. That's what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting text. So you always want to ensure that each column has the exact kind of data that you need. Okay? Ensure that there's no data immediately close to the database. So very important. Look at this. Somebody came here and put in a formula that said this number here times 50, and they put 100 here. This 100 that is here is going to mess up the formula because sometimes some of the things I want to do now, if there is any data that is attached to it, it's going to get sucked into that data. For instance, if I press Control A, this is going to assume it's going to be part of my database, and I don't want that. So you have to ensure that there's nothing around the data. Clean it up like that. Okay. Moving on, format each column appropriately. So for instance, this date column, I can say I want to format this entire date. So most times when you have a data set in Excel, you should always ensure that there's nothing under it. You know, it's not the best practice because you can always select that entire range. So let's say I want to change the format of it. I want to see day and then month and then year. So like this 2 now or 3. I don't want to start counting January, February, March. No, I want to be able to see it clearly. So I can change the format of the entire column. I select column A and I press Control 1 or I can go right click, format cells. It brings me here. This is date, so I need to format it as date. And there are different date formats. If you play around, you'll see different date format that you like, you know. But let's just say I like this one. I want to see the date dash March dash 21. Once I click on it, now I can see this is 10th of January, this is 2nd of February, you know, this is 14th of March, and it's easier to me like that. If there was something that maybe, if these were numbers, I can format these numbers anyhow I like. So, but because these are just normal, this thing, I'm just going to leave it down. Okay. Format each column appropriately, yes. If the database is long enough, freeze page to make identification easier. Very good, very important. I noticed a lot, some people that, you know, you have data like this, you scroll down, and say, okay, what is this one? You now scroll up, say, oh, this is product. You could have data that has maybe a lot of columns, and the thing goes down, you know, is this revenue, or can you now be scrolling up? So you always want to freeze panes, very important. How do you freeze panes? Well, you select the cell just below where you want to freeze it, just below. So let's say I want to freeze column 1. I will select the cell. I will select a cell on row 2 rather. Let's say I want to freeze row 1. I'll select row 2. In this, I can go select A2. Then I'll go to my View tab. Then under Window, there's Freeze Panes. I'll select Freeze Panes, and I can either freeze panes from where I am, or I can just freeze the top row, or I can just freeze the first column. But I just want to freeze panes. I just click on Freeze Panes. Now, what has happened is that this my row 1 is going to keep showing. If I scroll down, I can still be seeing this my row 1. It's still showing that this is date, this is customer. So I know that this is product, this is volume. Even if I have a lot of data, I can see which column I'm actually working with. Okay. So again, view. First of all, select where you want the panes to be frozen. Go to View, Freeze Panes. If I want to unfreeze, I can just unfreeze and I can scroll down. So let me take a sip of water. Oh.
Okay, good afternoon. I have a question, please.
Okay.
Okay. So when you were talking about these freeze panes, you said that we should freeze the row below. Should we not also, can't we also, or better still, try freezing highlight the one we are interested in freezing to achieve the same result? I'm just saying.
No, you can't. If I select this row range here and I go to freeze panes, it's not going to freeze. It's going to assume I want to freeze everything. See where it's freezing. No, you have to go. So basically, let me. I don't have a lot of. Let me just try to create something so that it will be clear what we're talking about, right?
Because I'm on my system and I'm trying it too. So what I did was I highlighted the first column, then I went to the view you're talking about, then to freeze panels. So I did the first row. So I don't know if
it's not working. Let me show you. Let me show you something. If you select, if I'm here, let me just see if I can just do Monday, right? And just drag this down this way. Okay. So now I have a lot of, let me just put in some random numbers here. Just random numbers equals random numbers. Let me copy. Okay. So now, watch this. I'm here. I select, I'm here. I want to freeze the top row. I want to freeze this row 1. So that if I scroll down, I can always see whether it is Saturday or Sunday, right? If I go to freeze panes and I click on freeze top row, if I click on it, irrespective of where I select, only the top row will be frozen. If I scroll down, I can still be seeing my top row. Now let me unfreeze panes. Now, if I scroll down and I freeze top row here, it is this top row of where I am that is going to be frozen. Can you see? Which is why I do not always use this freeze top row. I always prefer to tell Excel exactly where I want it to freeze. So I want to freeze row 1. For it to freeze row 1, I have to go below row 1. That is the row exact. If I come here, let me insert a cell. Let me insert, and right click here, also insert. Okay. If I come here, now I want to freeze row 2 and row 1. That's what I want to freeze. I don't want to just freeze row 1. I want to freeze row 2 and row 1. I have to select this place here. If I select here, that is, I'm on row 3 now. I want to freeze row 1 and row 2, so I have to go to row 3. And I go to freeze panes, and I click on freeze panes. It's going to freeze from where my cell is. So everything above it is frozen. So I can scroll down. You understand? Let me unfreeze. If in this case I click on freeze pane, I click freeze stop row, it's just going to freeze this first row here, which doesn't give me what I want. I don't know if what I just did explains freeze panes better to you.
Okay.
Is it clearer?
Yeah, it's clearer.
Okay, yeah. So you always want to go to the cell just below where you want to freeze, and then you go to freeze panes, freeze panes. So now if I scroll down, I can still be seeing my data. Okay, moving on. More worksheet formatting, turn grid lines on or off. These are just some common things that some people might want to do, or some might not want to do, depends on if you want to. So turn grid lines on and off on the view tab. Go here it is. On the view tab, this is it. I can turn my grid lines off, turn my grid lines. That's all these boxes, but I don't want to see them. Let me coming. Okay. Free space for easy scrolling, view tab, protect the worksheet. So I just want to show you how to protect a worksheet very briefly. Let's say I don't want to protect this worksheet. Let's say I don't want anybody to be able to press anything on this. Maybe, for instance, this report. I've produced this report and I don't want anybody to touch it. You can just right click, like I see that you protect the worksheet, put in a password. Let's say hi, and now it's protected. If anybody tries to type on it, he's not going to be able to type on it. So that's easy way of protecting what I can right click on protect, put in the same password, and we're good to go. Sorry. Okay. We'll talk about freeze panes, hiding the ribbon. We talked about that last week. Find and replace, very, very important. It's one of the very important features in Excel. So let's assume that I have quite a lot of orders here. Let's say I want to change these orders to order and not orders, right? Order, not orders. I want to remove the S. I can either come here and change orders, change it to order, change this, change this, change this, change each one of them individually, or I can go to my home tab, and then this is finance, and I can click on this and I can see it here, replace. Whereas the shortcut is Control H. So if I press Control H, it opens this. If I come here and I click on this, it also opens it. So what do I want to find? I want to find others, and I want to replace it with what? Other. Once I press replace all, it replaced everywhere I found it. So that's just the fast way of just finding and replacing everything on your sheet to ensure that that is done. Okay. Find is Control F, replace Control H, check spelling, that's F7. In case you want to check the spelling, I just put it there in case you need to. Once I press F7, you can. You tell him that my spell check is good to go, so I didn't misspell anything, you know. So hide and unhide columns, you can just right click and select. Then Control 9 and Control 0. Yeah. So let's assume that I want. Yes. You have a question?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So like you have a particular range of data and they are all in there. There's a mixture of both small caps and let's call it large cap, big
And
cases.
lowercase and uppercase. I get you.
Yes. So you want to change all of them to small cases, or you want to change them to large cases, or you want to make the first letter a capital letter. How do you do that?
Okay, so is it all the same? Is it the same value or different values?
No, I'm saying like using this your example now product to explain how to do that.
Okay, so let's take for example, all the dials here, I want to change them to capitalized dial, Abi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. So what I can do is I can just press my Control H or go to home, find and select, I'll come back here. What I want to find? I want to find dial. I want to replace it with what? Caps lock dial. Once I press replace all, you see that? So you
Yeah.
went through everything and it replaced everywhere. So you can basically replace with anything. If I want all the galas to now have an apostrophe at the back or whatever, all I need to just make sure that I spell it the way it is currently. Let's say gala. I want to turn it to gala sausage roll. I say gala. I just type gala sausage or something. Once I press replace all, everything gets updated. Is that
Okay,
clear?
I'm down, but what I mean is like
Okay, so maybe you have
I don't know.
a list and you want to change everything, Abi.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was not part of this course, but since you're asking, I'll just teach it now. So let's assume I have Dio, Paul, Yinka, right? And I want these guys to become, all of them, I want them to become uppercase. There's a function in Excel called upper. If I type equals UPPER tab, that's upper. Once I click on it and I select, it turns it to uppercase. So I have to do that. Once I just click and drag it down, it turns everything to uppercase. And another function called lower equals LUWE select. If I select this, press tab, it turns it into lowercase. There's another function called proper equals PROP. That one is going to give you what you want, which is the first one capitalized. So if I select this and I press enter, it gives me the first letter capitalized and the rest. Does this answer your question?
Thank you. It does. Thank you.
So let me type it again. The first one is upper. That's the upper function. Second one is lower. Last one is proper. Those are the functions that you need to convert into uppercase, into lowercase, or into proper case. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. So with that out of the way, okay, I said to hide columns or ask to hide Control-9 or Control-0. That's just shortcut, so you can try that. Printing Excel very quickly so I can go into the activity for today. It's the activity that's really going to take our time, so I just want to rush through. So most people don't know how to print. They don't know how to print. So look at this. Let's say that I have this data, right? I want to print out this data. Oh, I have a chart. Oh, okay, that was from earlier. Okay. So as I was saying, I have this this data and I want to print it out. If I go to File and I select Print, it comes out like this. This is the first one. And then when I go to the second one, I'm seeing this. This might be what you want. This might not be what you want. I'll just show you some basic tips on how to print. Some basic things on how to print. First thing is set the print area. Very, very important to set the print area. In other words, you're telling Excel what it should print and what it should not print. So for instance, let's say I have something here. I have all this, right? If I press Control P, which is the shortcut for print, Excel is also going to print that nonsense I just put beside it. Whereas I don't want Excel to print it, and maybe I don't want to delete it, right? So the first thing you do is to set the print area. How do you set the print area? Well, you select the range you want to print. Then you go to Page Layout, Print Area, and set Print Area. So let's do that. So let's assume that I want to print only this data. This is the database. I want to print it out on Excel, right? I have to first of all select that range. So that's why I said, you see, I don't want nothing should be close to it. So I can even move this one. Let me just insert something away again, right? So if I press Control A, it selects the entire data, right? So you go to Page Layout, then go to Print Area, then Set Print Area. Now I've set the print area. If I press Control P, it's only what I have set that is going to show. That thing that was beside it is not motion anymore, right? That's how to set print area. Page layout, print area, set print area. That's that. So Next, use print preview, which is what we just did. What we just did now is called print preview. So file, print, control P, text, print preview. Now the last one, the next one, repeat headers for long reports, page layout, print titles, and rows to appear at the top. So I purposely make this example long because if I press Control P, I can see the headers here: date, customer, product, volume. But if I go to the second page, I can't see the headers here. Let's say I want to repeat it again. Well, how do I do that? Let's say I have a lot of data and I want every page to have that header. Well, very simply, you go to page layouts. These are called print titles. Under page layout, print titles. If I select print titles, it's going to ask me, what are the rows to repeat at the top? Rows to repeat at the top. I have to come here and then select the row. So I'm telling it always repeat row 1 at the top. Once I press OK, now if I press Control P to go to print preview, if I move to the second one, I can see the same header. And if I add 50 more pages, all those pages will have the same header. So if I have a very long data, I can always I don't need to go and cut it and paste and I can have just one data bit and I just print it and it's going to come out looking nice. So those are just some basic apps. So I said here that you should go to this print preview settings, just go there and try the various things. I will not go to spend too much time there. So now, sort and filter. Sort and filter. One of the most important features in Excel. Sort and filter. I want to sort. Let's assume I want to sort by customer. I want to see all of Dio's information. Then I want to see all of Femi. I want to sort by customer. Yeah. What do I do? Let me delete this. You can select the entire data or you select one cell. Very important. You have to select either the entire thing or you select only one cell. If you don't select the entire thing, if I select just a range, it's only that range that is going to be sorted. But if I select this and I go and either I select everything here or I just select one cell. One cell is fine. Most times just select one cell. That's better. Then go to data and sort. And on this dialog box, you can choose what you want to do. So very important. Now, I want to sort by the customer column. Customer. I want to sort by customer. So my cursor has to be on the customer column. Go to insert. Go to data. I say insert. This is A to Z or Z to A. Once I click on A to Z, watch this. Immediately, my data is sorted. You can see all the dials, then all the Femis, and all the Hannahs, and all the others, and all the Paul, and all the Inca, sorted immediately. I have to ensure that my cursor. So let's say I want to, now, as I've sorted by this, you can see that my date is no longer sorted. I can see my product is no longer sorted. Let's say I want to sort by product. Once I click on it, A to Z, maybe I want to sort Z to A. I click on it. Now I have soft drink first, then gala, then bottled water, and it's sorted like that. Okay, that's that. Then there's something called the sort dialog launcher. I personally don't use it because I think it's really a long way to get to where you are going to. But some people might want to use it. So this is the sort that if I click on it, which is why it's very important that you have your data in a right format. I have dates, I have my title here, and I have there's no spacing between my data. So if I select just one cell and I go to sort, it's going to, Excel can pick out that, oh, this is where the data set is. Excel can see it. And because Excel can see it, Excel can use the functionalities of Excel to sort or to filter. Now, what does this do? Let's say I first want to sort by customer. Then I want to sort by product. Now I want to see all of Dio's, what's it called? All of Dio's expenditures. Then I want to see what he actually bought. Whether it was soft drink, then because as it is now, I have soft drinks, I have different. Let's say I want to sort first of all by customer and then by product. So first in sort by, I want customer. I click on customer, then go to sort on cell value. Yeah, that's what I want. Order, I want A to Z. All right. Now you can add a level and say after sorting by customer, now sort by product. I also want A to Z. Once I click OK, now watch this. I have all of Dio's information. Then Dio, he bought 2 He bought bottled water twice. He bought gala 4 times, and he bought soft drinks 4 times. Femi, this is all of Femi's information: bottled water, sausage, this, that. So that's what this sort. It allows you to add layers of sorting so that you can actually see your data in different ways. Okay. So, is there any question on that? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Moving on. Now, like I said, I personally do not use this sort, this A to Z, Z to A sort by this. I personally, something I like, which is why I'm showing you that it is available. But I personally do not use it. I basically filter. Filter is one of the wonderful aspects of Excel. It's really, really powerful. How do you filter? Again, select the entire data or select one cell and then go to data and then filter. So I have to make sure that I am in one cell or I am selecting the entire data set. We just put one cell. Go to data and this is filter. Once I click on it, I can see my filter. Shortcut. I think I put a shortcut there. Okay, I didn't put it. Shortcut is you have to hold Control Shift L. That's Control plus Shift plus L. So I'm here, Control Shift L, Control Shift L, like that, Control Shift L, Control Shift L, puts in sort. Now, what does it do? Let's quickly run. So this is called the filter dialog. Filter options based on the data type. Now let's look at the various things. I mentioned earlier that when you are building a data set, you should always ensure that each column has the right data type. This column has the right data type, this column has the right data type. Why? Because when you have filter, the options you will have will be based on data type. Let's start with this one, volume. If I click on this drop down, I will see a list of all the numbers, right? And I can select, okay, I want to filter out to just see only those that bought 2 things. This is everybody that bought 2 things, right? All the transactions that have a volume of 2, all the transactions that have a volume of 4, that's that. Now, if I want to clear the filter, I can clear the filter. I said I don't use this sort here because I actually have sort here. So I can actually come here and sort. So for instance, I can select this and sort A to Z. I can select this and sort oldest to newest. You see, because I put in the right data set, Excel knows that these are dates. So it's not telling me A to Z, it's telling me oldest to newest. If I click on it, now I'm sorting oldest to newest. That means this was the earliest transaction, and this is the latest transaction. You know, pretty cool. Now, again, if I click on the filter, I can see here I have number filter. I can sort if it is. I can find the top 10. I can find above average, below average. I can look at numbers that are greater than 3. I could have a lot of things here. Product is text, so I just have text filters. Look at that. Because you can see that this is just text. So it brings out text filters. I can say, okay, I want to sort anything. I want to filter anything that has G in it. I press OK. Gala is the only thing that has G in it. So Gala sausage is showing. All right. So again, clear filter. So the same thing with this is also text. So I can filter like that. For dates, look at this. This is beautiful. It gives you an hierarchy. You have the year, then you have the month. And even if I want to, let's say I want to filter just January information, I can click on January and I filter. This is just January information, right? And let's say I want January and April. I can filter. Okay. Now, there is a general clear here. Okay. Let's assume we're going to go to the activity. When we get there, we'll look at those activities. Now, with this information, what we're going to do is we're going to look at these activities, and then at this point, I would advise that if you have your Excel with you and you have this file, just follow along. We have 3 activities, and we're going to do each of those activities in different sheets. My first activity here says prepare a profit report showing all the purchases by Yinka with subtotals by product. So we want to look at a profit report. We want to prepare a report that shows the profit from all the purchases by Yinka and we want the subtotals by product. Now, we have the data here, right? We want to look at all what Yinka has done and want to look at it in profit. Now, here we have product prices. We have the price and the unit cost. We have the price and unit cost. So my product, I can select this again, make this, okay, let's make it bold. Okay, so we see that Gala cost us 15 naira. So it cost us 30 naira, but we sell it 15 naira. Bottled water costs us 35 naira, but we sell it 15 naira. Soft drink costs us 17 naira, but we sell it 100 naira. Okay, this is like the main meat of the class, and I really want us to pay attention and try this out. What I'm going to do. Now, what I'm about to do is not the most effective way of doing it, but because this is a beginner class, this is how I'm going to do it. The next premium class, we're going to look at other functions that can make this more dynamic and more, that can make it better, basically, right? But the first thing I want to do is I want to create a revenue column, and I want to create a total cost column. Then revenue minus total cost will then give us profit. Okay, it's just basically buying and selling. If you sell, for instance, if I sell four Gala sausage, right, and each one is 15 naira, so that means the revenue is 4 times 50, which is 200. But it costs me 30 naira, so that is the cost is going to be 4 times 30, which is what? 4 times 30 is 120. Yeah, if I can, I know maths. Okay, so how do I go about this? I want to create a profit report showing all the purchases by Yinka. The first thing is I need to fill in these 3 cells with the right formulas. I need to combine volume and product prices so that I can find the profits per transaction. Okay. The first thing I need to do, again, I'm using this formula, I'm using this method simply because this is a beginner class. If it was an advanced class, I would use maybe a VLOOKUP or an index and match to bring in those things. But this is a beginner class, so we're going to use a lot of filtering and sorting and sorting. So the first product here is Gala. So I'm going to come to this, my data, I'm going to filter Gala. This is Gala, press OK, right? So I'm going to come here, I'm going to put in a formula that says equals the volume times. Now, one thing about formula is that you can link, even though the formula, the cell is not, the cell you are looking for is not on this sheet, I can go and link it. So I go back to product prices, and this is the price of Gala, 50, right? And I press enter. So that's 200. Now, the problem is that if I copy this formula, the way filtering works is that I can come here and I can drag this down. But if I drag this down, it's not going to work, because look at this. This is product prices B2. You copy down to B4. That means I'm now multiplying by this amount. That's not what I want. I want this B2 to be fixed as I'm copying down. So let me Control Z, Control Z. Remember that we talked about how to fix formulas here. We have to press the F4 key, F4, to freeze it. So here I'm going to say equals volume times, select this, select the price. This is the price here. And I'm going to press F4. Once I press F4, I can press enter. Right? Now, I can copy this formula down. Again, how did I copy formula down? Let me Control Z. I went to the, what's it called? I went to the autofill and I just dragged it down. Once I release it, all the formulas, if I come here, it's picking the right value in B2, product price is B2, which is Gala. So this is the revenue. Yinka bought 4 Gala sausage, that's 200. It gave us 200 naira. Dayo bought 1 at 15 naira. This person bought 3 at 150. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing for total cost, equals volume times, come to total cost. This is total cost here. I'm going to freeze it, F4 to freeze it. I'm going to press enter. I'm going to come here and drag it down. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the second product. I'm going to filter for bottled water. Now this is bottled water. I'm going to do this exact same thing I just did for Gala. But in this case, instead of me to use that first one, I'm going to use another method, because we can just copy and paste. I'm going to say equals. First, I'm going to select everything I want to use here. equals the volume times, I'm going to come here and pick this bottle water value here, then F4 again to lock it. Press Control Enter this time. Once I press Control Enter, that formula is copied all through. F4, ensure that this guy did not come down, and then Control Enter, I just copy that formula all through. I'm going to do the same thing for total cost. Equals this times the total cost here. I'm going to press F4, and that gives me this. I'm going to do the same thing now for soft drink. Okay, so revenue is going to be this times soft drink, F4, enter. Can come here, just drag it down. Okay, same thing for total cost equals volume times for this F4 and drag it down. I can come here and I drag it down. Again, I'm using this very long method simply because we are new. This is a fundamental class. If it was a more advanced class, we'll use some more techniques to bring in those numbers. But the good news is these numbers are linked. So if tomorrow the price of bottled water increases from 15 naira to 17 naira, I just need to come and change it here. So let me let me come here and unfilter. This is under the data tab. This is clear. Once I clear it, I've cleared all the filter. Okay. So each product is now multiplying based on the right price. Okay. So now, if bottled water is now 17 naira, once I change it to 70, everything updates. This is now 17 naira, so everything updates. This is 1 times 70, which is 70. 2 times 70, 2 times. I don't need to go and that, which is why I said it's not good to be ad coding. If I had coded the 70 here, I have to go and look for every bottle water and start changing. But because I've linked it, that is fine. Okay. Let me Control Z to bring it back to 50. So now, total profit from each transaction is just going to be revenue minus total cost. I'm going to say equals the revenue minus total cost. Double click and send it down. So this is our profit on each transaction. I want to ask, please, everything I've done so far, is it clear?
Well, it's okay. Yes, we just have to practice it ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, all these things, they are clear and they are simple, but just watching it is not going to be enough. You have to practice. You have to practice. That's just like you said. So, but I'm glad that it's clear. I'm glad that it's clear. So again, what I did, filtered each product, linked the price, multiplied by the volume, dragged it down for each of them, same thing for total cost. And then after that, my profit is just revenue minus total cost. So please practice this until you get it right. So the first thing, now we have this, we have the basically what we call a sales analysis. This is sales analysis now, and it's ready. I can see that these guys, they don't have that filter button on them. So because I just inserted these new columns, that's why they don't have it. So I can unfilter and then filter again, or I can use my shortcut Shift L, Shift L. What I put in, it adds that the new column. Let me make this okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to prepare a profit report showing all the purchases by Yinka with subtotals by product. So I want to create a Yinka report. That is, I want to create a report that shows everything Yinka has bought. So first thing I need to do is I need to sort, because they said by product, so I need to sort the product column. Watch this. I'm going to sort, say A to Z. Now I've sorted the product column. So everything just follows like that. Now I can filter for Yinka. Right? I filter for Yinka. Now I can see that Yinka did not even buy any bottled water, bottled water from us. The only thing he bought was Gala and soft drink. Now, the product says we should prepare a profit report. So I can create a new sheet here and call it Yinka's profit report. Okay, let's make this 150 so it's clear. Okay, now I have filtered. Why did I sort? I sorted because I wanted to be able to get a subtotal per product under it. Now I'll filter it. I can just select. One thing about filtering that if I select this range and I copy it, Control C, it's going to copy only the filtered range. So I don't need to do any this. I can just copy this, come here, and then paste it. Let me do this here. Okay, so I have, this is Yinka's, this is everything that Yinka has bought from us. He bought gala, he bought soft drink. So the question says we should prepare a profit report showing all the purchases by Yinka with subtotals by product. So I need subtotals. I need to get the gala total. I need to get the soft drink total. So what I can do is I can insert a column. I can have maybe like 2 columns. Let me right click and insert. And I can call this gala sub total. Okay. Now I need to put in a total for everything here. I can just come here and say equals the sum, select this range and press this. Or I can use my select here, go to my auto sum, and I have it again. So anyhow I want to do it. So this is gala subtotal. So I can, this is a subtotal, so I want to make it stand out. So I can control B to make it bold, and maybe just give it a top line border. Okay, so I can see here that Yinka bought 8 gala sausage rolls from us. Total revenue we got from Yinka was 400 naira. Total cost that we incurred was 240 naira. The profit that we got from Yinka from gala is 160. So from this raw data, we can easily see a very simple report. This is basic Excel, fundamental Excel. I've not done anything. I've not done any power pivot or any. This is just basic Excel. And there's so much. There's so much you can already produce from just simple reports. So now the same thing I want to do. Soft drink total, right? I'm going to come here and do the same thing equals the sum of these guys and control enter. And I have it. I can come here, make it bold, and give it that top. Then I can call here and say Yinka's total. Then I can now come here and say equals the sum of this total and this total. That is, Yinka's total is going to be the total we got from gala, or the total we got from soft drink, and I can control enter. And I can see here, if I control B, and I give this my trademark top and thick bottom border. This is a very simple report that shows, if I double click here, that shows these are the days that Yinka bought gala. These are the volumes of gala he bought. This is the revenue we got, and this is the profit we got. These are the days that Yinka bought soft drink. This is the volume he bought. This is the revenue he bought, and this is the subtotal here. And this is total that we got from Yinka. And we can see that very easily by filtering and by sorting. I'm assuming that there's no. Is there any question, please, so I can move on to the other 2 activities? Okay, no question. Great. So that means we understand this. So hopefully, I'm going to do the second activity, and then the third. I would advise that you try this also on your own. Activity 2 says prepare a profit report showing all the bottled water purchases with subtotals by customer. Now, we want to do a report for bottled water purchases, and the subtotal should be by customer. In this case, we did Yinka's report, subtotal by product. Now we're doing bottled water report with subtotal by customer. So let me create a new sheet and call it bottled water report. Okay. So now, because I want to create the report by customer, I'm going to sort this customer line. I'm going to sort A to Z. I have all the customers. Now I can filter bottled water. Now I can see all the bottled water sales to each of these customers. And I can see the volume, I can see the revenue, I can see the total cost, I can see the profit. Okay, they're very clear. All I need to do is to copy this and then take it into this new file here. Let me make this bigger. Okay. And just like we did for this report that shows Yinka, this is a report for bottled water, and these are the various customers. So I can insert, I'm going to right click, insert, right? By the way, shortcut for insert is Control Shift equals Control Shift plus. I can select to this, select to this. Okay, so I can now come and say
Sorry, what happened?
What happened?
Okay, he's back now.
mute. Okay, sorry, can we hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes, yes,
yeah.
you can.
So sorry about that. My network tripped off. So go back. So we're almost done though. So it's just to finish these activities. But I believe that it has been clear so far. Okay. Yeah. So sorry about that. HANA subtotal. Okay. Yeah. So this is HANA subtotal. Other subtotal. Okay. So we were here. So it goes sum, and I can make this bold. Give it the same thing. Then Paul. Okay. Now look at this. I scrolled up. I can't see my header. So this is where I might want to select A2 because I want to freeze row 1. So I select A2, go to view, freeze panes, freeze panes. So as I scroll down, I'm still seeing my this thing. Now, Paul subtotal. Select everything, alt equals. Yep. So select this, Control B, and give it this top. Now I want to put in a grand total. I can say bottled water total. So now I can see the total volume of bottled water sold and who we sold it to and who are the major guys. This, comma, this, comma, this, comma, this, comma, this. And here, I can bold this and give it a double underline. So here I can see each person that bought from us. I can see the day they bought from us. And I can also see the total here that we got. So this kind of report again, it's if I was going to do this with advanced formulas, I most likely won't do it this way. But I just wanted to give an example that will showcase everything we have learned. I would also be useful and can also help in your own personal reports. All right. So the last activity, prepare a profit by customer, a profit report by customer and by product for the month of March. So now we're taking a month, just the month of March. We want to do analysis by customer I want to do analysis by product for profit. Let me make this 150. So if I go to my sales data, I go to data, I clear all the filter. Now I want to filter the month of March. I go to date column. I unselect all. I just select only the month of March. Okay. So this is what happened in the month of March. And I want to do a report. In this case, I'm just going to do the profit report directly because we have two, by customer and by product. So I'm just going to take my profit. Let me first of all sort. I think customer is sorted already now, so I can just select this, copy, go to this, right, and then make this fine. Then I can delete all these rows, or I can. Let me just call this one by customer. Let me insert a row here. Insert. Okay, say by customer. Okay, so the same thing that we did. I'm going to insert, paste. So in March, we have Dio. Dio bought this. I'm going to do something now that will save time. I say Hannah bought this. This is other people bought this, and this is Paul. Paul bought this. So now I can select all these. Remember we said that you can select multiple cells by holding control. So I select this. I'm holding control now. I select this. Holding control, select this, and I can format them all at once. Control B to bold, home, just the top is fine. And that does that for me. I can make this one also, this and this, and then make it bold. Okay, so this by customer, and I can put total. Okay, I can call it March, but this is March we are working on. March total. So here I can say equals the sum of this and this and this and this and this, and that gives me the answer. So I can make this bold and then give it my double underline. So this is by customer, right? I want to do the same thing by product. So let's go back to sales analysis, and this is March. I'm going to copy this same thing and paste it here. Now, I want to insert cells. Oh, sorry, before I do that, I need to Control Z. Let's go, because I'm doing it by product, I need to sort the product. This product is not sorted. So let me undo, that's on clear my filter, data clear, then sort A to Z by product, then filter for March. Okay, now I can do subtotals by product. So we're Control A, Control C, come here, and then Control V or enter. And I can select all this, double click here to space it out. Now, I want to insert here and here. I can select this row and go right click, insert. When you go right, normally, if I don't select that row, if I just come here like this, sorry, if I select like this, I just right click and I insert. Because I selected the entire row, it's just going to insert rows. But because I didn't select the entire row, I just selected the range like this. I want to insert it under, I can right click, go to insert, then go to ask me, do you want to shift the cells right or down? I want to shift the cells down. Okay, that does that. I can select this one too, right click, insert, shift the cells down. Okay. So now I'm going to call this bottled water. This is total. If I'm right, the two totals should tie because it's basically the same information. Gala, sausage, and then soft drink. Okay, so again, select this, hold control. I'm holding control now. Select this. I'm still holding control. I select this. Okay. After I've selected it, I can Control B to bold, then come home. By the way, most of all these things I'm using, they're already on my own quick access toolbar, but because you might not have it on quick access toolbar, that's why I'm using the normal. If I was in my own, I'll just come here and click. I already have my what's it called here for. Let me just do this. So top border here. Okay. I can come and say match total. Say equals sum of this, comma this, comma this. And it looks like we have done it in a very nice and correct way. As I put in this. So we have, I can just copy this one here, call it by product. So very simple sales analysis. Very simple sales analysis. And you can see from the sales data, this is the sales data here, that was previously unformatted, that they just gave us, there was only even the volume that was there. We're able to produce our revenue and total cost and profit from these prices here by multiplying volume times price for each product to get the right revenue, to get the right total cost, and then to get the right profit. Now, after doing that, we produced a report for Yinka showing that, oh, Yinka, what he did, he bought this amount of gala from us, he bought this amount of sodium from us, and this is total. We produced a report for a product, which is bottled water. We broke it down by the customers that were there. And now we produced a report for the month, 2 different reports, one for the customer. So I can see that for the month of March, they say who is the highest, which customer gave us the highest margin? Apparently it was others. Others gave us highest because others gave us the highest volume as well. If you ask which product gave us the highest margin in the month of March, I can see clearly that it was Gala. So this is just very beginner, very basic stuff that we can use. We can apply everything we have learned so far. And this is just fundamentals. So we have not done anything advanced and anything super, some crazy formulas and everything. The next class, so the next course is going to be a premium course where we're going to go into how you can, this kind of reports now, we're going to go into how you can fully automate it, and you can make it, look nicer, you can link it, you can produce, you can just change something and everything will update. So with that, I think we have come to the end of this class. I want to appreciate you for sticking around to the end. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching the videos. If you liked the class, please leave a comment. You have our WhatsApp contacts. Ibukun and I must have contacted some of us, but the ones that were not contacted, these are WhatsApp contacts. Feel free to save the number so that you can, in case you have issues, you can always get back to us. You can ask questions and you can get posted. We are definitely going to come up with more classes, but the next one is going to be an advanced class and it's going to be a premium class. So let's let's be in touch. This class that we just finished is definitely going to be on YouTube. So in case you missed something or you didn't get something, you can always go back to YouTube and watch the class. And please, as you watch, feel free to subscribe, like the video, share the video with your friend. Let's have as many likes and many views as we want. And we'll keep in touch. Any questions before I end the session?
No, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, so thank you very much. Cheers.
Yeah, thank you, Dayo.
All right, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Dayo, this is Engineer Wole.
Oh, Engineer Wole.
Thank you.
Actually, I just clicked in now. I just wanted to
That's great.
have a
That's
feel of
great.
this class.
Okay, I think
Thank you very
Okwemi is
much.
also saying. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I actually joined late, but I think by revisiting the link, I think I can get more of it.
Yes, definitely you can.
Thank you
Definitely
very
can.
much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so have a wonderful weekend. We'll definitely be keeping in touch. Stay safe.
Okay, cheers, Dayo.
All right. Cheers.